What's up, everybody? We're back. So I wanted to talk to Jordan and to George about the NFL 100 team, the 100th year of the NFL. They picked a team and they left a few players out that I thought were really interesting. They left out Drew Brees, which I was shocked that they left Brees out. And my problem with this whole thing, oh, by the way, they left Aaron Rodgers out as well. My problem with the whole thing is that how are you going to pick a team, a 100-year team, before the 100th year is actually over? Because it doesn't make any sense. The guy in the 100th year set the record for the most touchdown passes in the history of the NFL, didn't make the team. So I'm calling that shit the 99 years of the NFL because they didn't even bother to count the 100th year for a quarterback. And they probably have other players in that list as well. So what do you think about that, Jordan?
Well, I mean, I definitely agree that Drew Brees should be on there. And for all the points you make, Drew Brees has to be used to this at this point, though. I mean, his entire career, he's been overlooked. He wanted to go to A&M, ended up going to transferring, going to Purdue because they didn't want him there. Then he wanted to be they didn't want him. They drafted Phillip Rivers, traded for Phillip Rivers with the Giants, with the Chargers, and ended up moving him on there. Miami wanted him. He wanted to go to Miami and be a Dolphin, which would have changed everything, by the way. And they said, no, too much concerns. He's too short. We think he might be done. His entire life, people have overlooked him. But he keeps proving people wrong. I think history is going to look back extremely favorably on Drew Brees. Aaron Rodgers, I can see why he's not there. He's got a great arm. I'm not sure in his prime he's got a better arm than Patrick Mahomes has right now. He hasn't set any ridiculous records the way Drew Brees has. He hasn't won the Super Bowls Tom Brady has. Aaron Rodgers is an extremely good quarterback, but I'm okay with excluding him.
Agreed. George, what's up?
Well, I'm looking at the list of the quarterbacks, and I'm trying to see who would you bump off. You know, I understand he broke the record this year, but it's also a whole different kind of football system where if you breathe on someone, you get a pass interference play, except for last year.
Yeah.
The Saints, you know, he knows how to throw the ball downfield and get PIs. Back in the days, that didn't happen. I'm looking at the 10 quarterbacks they picked, and I don't know who I'd pull off. Who would you pull off?
I'd pull off like one of the older guys.
Sammy Baugh? I mean –
yeah. I mean, I get it, and I get that they paved the way.
Johnny Unitas, you know, out of draft.
Here's what I'm saying, is at least wait until the year is over. At least wait until the 100th year is over, because now what if Drew Brees goes and wins the Super Bowl this year? In the 100th year. Now you have a guy who won 2 Super Bowls, and he owns all these passing records, including the most touchdowns in the history of the NFL. Maybe you go and you consider it after the season, right?
Oh, you could dump Marino. Marino's on that list. They could dump Marino.
Oh,
that would be a good dump there.
Yeah.
They can keep Marino right out of there, and they'll be able to put him right in there. So if you're going to pull anybody off that list, it's going to have to be your boy.
Nah, we're dealing with some biases here, no doubt. I'm biased towards Marino. I get that.
But
okay.
if you just take the one thing out, who doesn't have a Super Bowl on that list? It's Marino.
Yeah, but you can't just judge based on Super Bowls. I mean,
no, you can't, but it should be a prerequisite for being one of the greatest ever. How can you be one of the greatest ever if your team wasn't even once one of the greatest for a year?
Okay, so then let's say, for argument's sake, you take off Dan Marino. So you may want to wait till the end of the year before you decide that, right? You may want to wait till the 100th year is actually over and then have a tough decision to make. That's the point I'm making, right? But it's still the 100th year. So Drew Brees will go into the Hall of Fame, but he's got to wait another 100 years now to get on the team, right?
Awesome. And recency bias will exclude him the way we've been excluding a lot of the older players in this.
Yeah, I just think, you know, greatness, you look at Drew Brees, you watch him play, there's none. I mean, he's probably the top 5 quarterback in the history of the NFL. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, who drops back and throws dimes like that on a consistent basis that you're like, wow, the guy just doesn't miss, right?
Not just that, but he's a top 5 locker room guy.
I,
He's just a good person and a credit to New Orleans.
We all agree they should bump Marino and stick him in there, and everything would be all right.
I really think if I'm starting a franchise tomorrow and I have to choose between Roger Staubach and Dan Marino, I am taking Dan Marino. And I'm pretty sure most fans that are not Cowboy fans, that are intellectually honest football fans, would take Dan Marino over Roger Staubach to start your team. I guess it all depends on how you define quarterback, the role, right? I mean, back then they were tough as nails, but Marino was tough as nails. BREES has had to be not as tough because of the rules. I get that. But I'm just saying, dude, at least wait until the end of the 100th year, look at the whole thing, then make your damn list after it's over with. Don't make a 99-year list and call it a 100-year list. Yeah. All right. Good conversation. We're not going to come to any agreement there, but I do think we all agree they should have waited, right? Until the end of the year.
For sure, they should have waited.
Yeah, I think so. All right. See y'all next time.